played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Okay, this is my reptilian abduction from June of 2013. And this was a little before I knew that the aliens were in my life all my life. Yeah, it was, I actually knew that the Greys were in my house several months before that. And then I had a lot of ethereal abductions and a physical abduction by the Greys, and then it was a couple months after that I started talking to the reptilians, and I started getting these experiences, but I still hadn't realized that they had been in my life all my life yet. I didn't realize that till a few more months later after that. And so anyway, June of 2013, I was telepathically talking to a reptilian, and I knew that he was listening, and I knew I was talking to a reptilian, but I didn't know I was talking to a vicious reptilian. And let me see here. So I didn't know I was talking to a vicious reptilian, but I was trying to relay the question, because I remember back in 2003 or 2004 or possibly 2005, I would wake up like all horny, like as if a being had sex with me all night, I woke up all aroused everywhere. And that wasn't the first time. So I was trying to ask him, was that you, the reptilians that were doing that to me back in 2004 or 2005 or 2003? I think it was 2004 or 2005. And I know it was the reptilians, and I just had a similar experience about 6 weeks ago. Well, no, not even 6 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. On a Thursday, it was a Thursday morning, and I woke up and I was freaking my genital, area was totally aroused, like as if they did something physically to me all night. I don't know what the heck they did, but they did something. Could have been the Greys doing something, I don't know, but I was totally all swollen and shit and aroused. I mean, I was all swollen because I was totally freaking aroused. I've never been that aroused in my life. That was just about 3 weeks ago on a Thursday morning. It was a work day. I had to go to work that day. But anyway, so back in 2004, I remember waking up and feeling all aroused and crap, like something had sex with me all night, an entity. So I was trying to relay that question to him. And like I say, I knew I was talking to a reptilian. I knew he was listening. But I didn't know I was talking to a vicious reptilian. So anyway, so that was a Friday night. And I think I went to bed. I normally don't go to bed that early on a Friday, but I did go to bed around 9:30, and I was talking to him. And it was a Saturday morning at about 9:15 a.m. I was laying on my right side in my bed. I still had my eyes closed, and I was totally awake. I was semi-groggy, but I was totally awake. This being came from his dimension, manifested in my bedroom, on my right side of my bed. He didn't manifest as totally physical. I don't believe that at all. But he manifested as pretty ethereal, probably a little more than ethereal. And I kept my eyes closed the whole time. So anyway, I guess I forgot to tell you. I was sort of asking him, I was actually kind of asking for some more experiences. I guess he kind of took it the wrong way. I wasn't necessarily, well, maybe I was asking for his sex, but I don't know how I said it exactly. So yeah, so I did ask for more experiences like that. But he sort of took it the wrong way, I guess. And I wasn't even talking to him in complete sentences, you know. I was talking telepathically, and I was just talking in kind of imagery. And some sentences, and mainly imagery, but he totally understood everything. He totally understood everything, but he took it the wrong way. So at 9:15 in the morning, on Saturday morning, he came to my bedside, and this is what he did. I felt his, physical, well, they're not physical beings, but they're energetic beings that feel physical. So what he did was, with his hands, he started on my right side, the right side of the bed, and he started nudging me. He started nudging me to the left, and then he went over on the other side and started nudging, like nudge, nudge, nudge. And then he went to the other side, nudge, nudge, nudge. And then he went to the other side, nudge, nudge, nudge. And then he went to the other side, nudge, nudge, nudge. What he was doing was nudging me out of body, because he had to get me out of body so I could be on his same level, so he could do harm to me. Because it's harder for them to completely appear physical and try to do physical damage, so to speak, to my physical body in 3D, so it's easier for them to nudge me out of body. So he like nudge, 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 then went to the other side, nudge, 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 because he could go right through the bed, because he wasn't physical. So he did that about three times on each side. He literally did it 3 times on each side, maybe 4. And then what he did was, he started at the right side again, the right side of the bed, right by me, and he started shake, 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 shake. And he shook me out of body to make sure I was out. Once I was completely out of body, then he cocked me to the right. I was laying on my right side. He cocked me to the right, and with his right, it felt like his right fist. Then he goes, BAM! And then he hit me like really, really, really hard. He hit me really hard in my private area, and it freaking hurt. It still hurt, although I was, energetic at that point. I was out of body. He hit my astral body, and it still hurt. It didn't hurt quite as bad as if, somebody did that to me physically, but it hurt, even though I was, in my astral body. It still hurts. So anyway, but another thing I forgot to say, when he started nudging me out of body, I was thinking in my head, all right, I'm going to have an awesome experience with a reptilian being. I was thinking that because I was naive, and I really did not believe at that point that there were vicious aliens out there. I did not believe that. I figured there were some ornery ones, but to tell you the truth, I did not believe that. I did not believe that there were vicious aliens at all. But yeah, there are some vicious aliens out there. I'm sure there's greys. I'm sure there's reptilians. Well, I know there's reptilians that are vicious. And I believe there's probably greys that are too. And many other aliens. But I haven't had any vicious encounters with greys. But yeah, so this reptilian being, some of the reptilians are downright vicious. And I've had a couple other bad experiences, but this was the most vicious. And like I say, I guess I was sort of trying to ask for an experience, like a sexual experience, but I guess I didn't really know how to ask for it, so he sort of took it the wrong way. So anyway, he just like, BAM! With his right, he cocked me. I was laying on my left side, he kind of cocked me more to where he can like punch me in my private area. And, yeah, the little fucker. So anyway, so this is what he did. He grabbed me tight, okay? He had a hold of my astral body, not my physical body, my astral body. He held me tight, around his arms. And then it was like as if he just, mentally told himself, okay, descend. So we descended at freaking 100 miles an hour, maybe even 150 miles an hour. He wanted me down to hell fast. Yeah, hell does exist, and that's where the reptilians live, the vicious ones. So, we descended at probably 150 miles an hour, or 100 miles an hour. And at the whole start of the descent, before we actually descended, just maybe a split second, before we actually descended to hell in the fourth dimension, I heard this beautiful music. It sounded like awesome, I mean beautiful, angelic music. Beautiful music. Like la 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 la. You know, beautiful, I can't imitate it. Beautiful, angelic music. I heard it right at the beginning of the descent. And the whole time we were descending, I was like, what the fuck? You know, I was thinking, why do I keep hearing this beautiful music? Because I knew beautiful music and a reptilian wouldn't really go together. Okay? So anyway, let's see here. It was, I think, dang it, I can't remember. It was either a few months before that, or I think it was a few months before that, actually, in 2012. Was when I learned about the Silver Legion of the fifth dimension, and how there are, you know, human beings, non-physical beings that live there, and also angelic kind of ET beings with wings, angelic beings, you know, I don't know if you want to call them aliens or not, but they're angelic type of beings, and some of them have wings, and they protect us. They protect human beings in this third dimension from the bad aliens. And yeah, I believe it was 2012 was when I learned about that. And so in 2013 of June, that's when I had this bad experience. Okay, so anyway, the start of the descent, I heard the beautiful music. The whole time we were descending, I kept thinking, why do I keep hearing that beautiful music? Okay, so then, after we descended for about, it seemed like forever. I mean, it's a long ways down there to hell. To land in hell, at the bottom of, what I call the bottom of the pit, you know, it's a long ways down there. And we descended, I mean, it seemed like we descended for a long ass time before I was saved by this angelic being. I would say we descended at like 10 minutes. You know, but that seemed like a really, really long time. Well then, you know, I believe this angelic being was flying with me, and I believe she had wings. She didn't show me her face. And anyway, so she basically fought his ass off. She fought him off, and he went ahead and, you know, went on down to his dimension where he belongs, in hell. And then, guess what? I was extended, after she saved me, I was extended in midair. My astral body was just extended in midair. I was just stopped. I stopped in midair. And I looked in front of me, and I'm thinking, what the hell? This doesn't look like Reptilian Zone. Well, guess what I saw? There was this beautiful, beautiful sunroom in a beautiful big house. With a beautiful, you know, like a sun type of room, with one of those, what do you call it? You know, like a glass roof or whatever. And in front of me was about, I would say about 30 feet in front of me was a twin bed. Maybe even about 40 feet. There was a twin bed with a beautiful comforter. And I'm thinking, what the hell? So anyway, basically that was the angelic being telling me, hey, you know, I saved you. You know what I'm saying? They don't actually, you know, you got to read between the lines with these beings. And so basically, but I didn't know that at that time. It was a friend that later told me, when I told her about my experience, because she also was a reptilian in human form, or a reptilian hybrid, that I had met around the same time, and she was telling me about some of her experiences, and she was starting to wake up about her alien encounters. And I told her about my experience. I was like, guess what happened? I called her on the phone, and she's like, oh, well that was like a, you know, angelic being that saved you from that experience. And I was like, really? I mean, I was like so freaking stupid, I didn't even understand anything. I didn't understand, you know, why did I stop in midair? And I'm thinking, this don't look like Reptilian Zone. Well, I kept asking many times before if I could go to Reptilian Zone. And I always, you know, never could. Well, that's why I never could, because it's so dangerous down there. The ETs won't take you down there because it's too dangerous. Okay, so continue to part 2 of my vicious reptilian attack. 2013 of June. So anyway, the being that saved me, the Light Warrior, they're called Lightwarriors. And if you look up Silver Legion on the computer, they talk about the Lightwarriors. So yeah, so basically they have wings and they save the humans from bad attacks by the aliens. Yeah, and they're called Lightwarriors from the Silver Legion. And they're close, to this dimension, so it makes sense. Like the reptilians, they're close to this dimension, so the 5th dimension is, closer to this dimension than the heaven realm. So yeah, it makes sense. That was one of the Light Warriors that saved me. So anyway, the reason why we descended so fast was because he wanted me down there super fast so he can have other reptilians, abuse me and attack me. I have no doubt. That's why we descended so fast, because he wanted to take me down there as fast as possible, so before I was saved by a Light Warrior, because he knew, he's not stupid, he knew that there were beings that were on the good side that would save us, humans or hybrids from these bad aliens. So that's why we descended so fast, because he wanted to take me down there in hell so a lot of other reptilians could abuse me as well as him, which makes perfect sense. Yeah, now I went down there before, but it was by way of remote view. My astral body was not there, just my mind. The reptilians, were able to take my mind there, but I can talk about that later. But anyway, so this friend that I had met around the same time named Gay, she was the one that told me, the angel was basically saying, I saved you, here's this beautiful twin bed for you. I mean, it's really awesome to think about it, but I just can't believe I was so dumb and naive that I couldn't figure it out. But like I say, that was even before I realized that the aliens had been in my life all my life. I remember experiences from age 6. But eventually I'll tell about all my experiences in chronological order. But yeah, and I remember a bad reptilian attack in 1994, and then in 2006 I had some encounters, and I believe they were probably reptilian. I believe it was just one reptilian being, but he wasn't mean or anything. And but that was in 2006 in a hotel room, but I can tell you about that later. And so anyway, before this experience in 2013, it was probably late 2012, something like that, when I was asking to, because I kept reading David Icke, and I kept being curious about the reptilians, but I didn't know they were in my life and always in my life at that time. And so I kept asking to go down to Reptilian Zone. Well, the only time, one time I succeeded. You know how David Icke says that the reptilians are very close to this dimension? That realm is very close, and he's right, because when I astral travel, at an angle, I don't know, I guess it's called 20-degree angle, and I shoot off out of body, I bypass all 12 dimensions, and I go to the heaven realm. And, I twirl through the black galaxy many minutes before I land in the heaven realm. So this is what happens when you try to go to hell, so to speak. What I did was that was before this experience. So that's the only time I succeeded in trying to go down to hell, was when, before this bad reptilian attack, I actually rolled out a body about 3 centimeters. I literally rolled out a body 3 centimeters. and I dropped. I rolled out of body 3 centimeters. I did not travel. You don't have to astral travel to get to this dimension because it's so close to this dimension. So I rolled out of body like 3 centimeters and I dropped. Well, guess what? I dropped about 100 feet. I don't know, maybe 200 feet. And my cat Hannah was at the foot of the bed. And I actually rolled her out of body as well. And this female reptilian grabbed me. See, the nicer reptilians hang out at the upper part of the 4th dimension. The better part of hell. Yeah, so the nicer reptilian beings, they hang out at the upper part of hell, the nicer ones. It's the mean ones that hang out at the bottom part of hell, and at the bottom of the pit, which is dust, by the way. And you know, it's a constant 70 degrees. There's, you know, it's not sunny, it's not cold, it's not windy. Well, they can create wind. But anyway, so this female being, she grabbed me, and oh my God, I couldn't even move. I mean, she grabbed me so damn tight. I mean, I could not even move. I mean, I couldn't even move when this male reptilian being grabbed me. So anyway, she finally let go, and then she proceeded to do sexual things to me. And then I looked up, and my cat Hannah was looking down at us doing these, you know, sexual acts. And it didn't last long. And then, you know, I was back in my bed. So that was the only time I succeeded in trying to go down to Reptilian Zone, the bottom of the pit, aka hell. And, you know, the Illuminati people, they know about that. They put it in a movie called This Is the End. A stupid-ass movie. Stupid, stupid, stupid. And this reptilian being right here is from, he's a nice being. He's from Jupiter Ascending. And the reptilian being that attacked me in June of 2013, that reptilian being, I believe, had he didn't have a snout. He had more of a flat face. And he looks similar to one of the pictures that you see in, there's like 2 or 3 pictures that David Icke has in one of his books. Remember Who You Are? The being that attacked me, you know, was more humanoid, and he had the flat face, not the snout. I did have a bad experience with the snouted being, but I don't believe, by the energy of this being, I totally felt like he looked like one of those flat-faced reptilians, similar to what you see in David Icke's book, Remember Who You Are. He didn't look like this creature monster being that you see in Jupiter Ascending. This being right here, Sargorn or whatever. But anyway, yeah, the being that grabbed me up when I rolled out of body and went down there and dropped. But see, she wasn't hanging out at the vicious part of hell. She was hanging out at the upper part. That's why after descending at about 40 or 50 feet, she caught me. But she wasn't vicious at all, and I could totally tell by her energy that she was more of a female reptilian. But I couldn't tell you exactly, you know, what her face looked like. I mean, I kind of sensed maybe what she looked like. But anyway, so the being that attacked me, I have no doubt, looked like similar to the non-snouted being in his book, Remember Who You Are. He has like 3 pictures. And that one where the being has kind of like the nose turned down, the more flat face, that's what the being looked like that attacked me at my bedside. So anyway, in the movie This Is the End, they're shoving it in your face that these reptilian beings live down in hell. And it even showed their big old dick. And actually, it kind of showed a being in the movie. I think he did kind of look similar to this being, Sargorn or whatever, from Jupiter Ascending. This being right here. It was like a creature monster reptilian. And yeah, they showed a reptilian being in that movie. and it was called This Is the End, and he goes around and molests people in their bed. And it even shows his dong, and it even falls off, towards the end of the movie, his balls and his dong falls off. But basically they're throwing it in your face that these reptilian beings are real, and they go around molesting people, and that they do live in hell. They're shoving it in your face. But yet they know the sheeple are in a trance and will never figure it out. Except, me and other people that are awakened. So anyway, there's more stories to come, but this is the end of that experience of June of 2013. Yeah, so just be careful and don't, if you get attuned to these beings and you know that you're a hybrid and that you have a lot of reptilian DNA, just be careful, fucking around with them and asking for sex and shit and talking to them, because you could have, it's possible you could have a bad experience. But, even if they try to give you a bad experience, there's always good beings that will be there to help you. More than likely.